that was the realization, is that if I follow my intuition, it will open up joy opportunities every single day. I go to movement because as I can be 5 minutes in movement and I'm right out of my head and in my body. And that's where we need to be. Like, that's where it is, right? It's inside of our body. It's not up here. The joy is not up here. And as we just talked about, gratitude is a great vibration raiser. So if I can find 3 things right here in the here and now to be grateful for, oh, I'm already feeling a little bit better. Life isn't all shit because, oh, look, I just found these 3 things to be grateful for. Okay, great. Just leave your inner perfectionist out there in the waiting room when I'm doing in-person classes. They'll be fine out there. You can pick them back up if you want afterwards. But in here, you just be the imperfect you. And it's beautiful.
I just think, God, we need to give ourselves permission to feel joy, right? And to create more of it. Because when we do, the interaction, it's infectious, it's contagious. Welcome to JOY², Live with Joy. This is the podcast where we get to explore the power of joy, purpose, passion, and fun, and how joy, when practiced intentionally, transforms how we live, work, and lead. I'm your host, Greg D. Koker. And I believe that when you live with joy, everything gets better. And I mean everything. And this isn't just about feeling good. It's about unlocking joy as a resource, one that fuels better leadership, meaningful work, and thriving lives. Each week, we share the stories, the insights, and the sparks that ignite more joy, because joy is contagious, it's powerful, and it belongs to all of us. So lean in, stay curious, and let's create more joy together. This is JOY², brought to you by Essentia Group. Welcome back to JOY², Live with Joy. I'm your host, Greg D. Koker, and today's conversation feels very special to me. I've experienced today's guest not just as a leader, not just as a facilitator, but as a force of movement, transformation, and full body joy. One of the first times I experienced her work and her energy was when I was in Florida. I was dancing on the beach like no one was watching, except they were, and I didn't care. That's the kind of power and space she creates, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. So Emmy Rousseau is a visionary educator, Speaker Slam Gold certified inspirational speaker and speaking coach, best-selling author, activist, and fitness instructor. Emmy helps depleted changemakers realize they deserve and need to put themselves first so that they can make sustainable impact. She helps them build up their self-love toolbox. One of the tools she uses is the power of mindset and movement through a transformative fitness practice called Intense Sati. She'll have to tell me if I pronounce that right when we get into it. Her accolades also include being the Speaker Slam 2021 Grand Slam finalist and co-creating and co-hosting Amplifying Voices, Mental Wealth, and the Never Give Up Summit. Emmy was also the winner of the 2022 Paro Pitch Competition, was awarded top 3 in the She Did It Pitch Fest, top 100 in the 2022 Total Mom Pitch, and was a finalist for the Universal Women's Network 2022 Women of Inspiration Awards. Emmy's pillars in life and business are unconditional love, freedom, and authenticity. Wow, that's amazing. Emmy, welcome to JOY². You're not just a founding sponsor of the podcast, you're someone who has physically led joy in spaces and with people that I deeply care about. So it's so great to have you here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Yay. So I wanted to kind of kick it off with, I know how busy you are. I just rattled off a lot of different awards and a lot of things that you're up to, and that's amazing. So you're busy at work, you're busy in life. And why did you choose to say yes to becoming a founding sponsor? I'd like to kind of start there.
I love that question. It's interesting, as you were reading my bio and reading my 3 pillars in life and business, before freedom was joy. And then, not that joy is not still a core value, but I think because core has become, joy has become just such a non-negotiable. It's just already there. It's a baseline almost now for me. that I didn't have to include it in my core values. It's not something I have to strive for. So when you came to me with this incredible idea about joy squared, and I talk a lot, and we'll talk more about it later, but about how intensati is like movement and affirmations uh, that are exponentially better. I'm like, well, you have the joy, you have the exponents. It's a no brainer. You got to be a part of it.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so good. It's so great to have you, Barry. And when did that all become clear to you? Was there a point in your life when it was like joy was just one of your core values? It became a non-negotiable. Like, was it an event or was it just like a kind of a transition or just everything was kind of building up to that and leading to that? Do you remember?
I think it became really clear when I went through Danielle Laporte's desire map. She does a really great job of helping you figure out what is most important to you. And it just kept resurfacing as a word, joy. And I had noticed that while I was off for 2 years in my business, at the beginning, when I literally had pretty much no income, like maybe 20 bucks a month was coming in, like nothing. And I was just following my bliss. Literally all I was doing. Oh, I should turn left here and follow in. Oh, there's a park. Let me stop at the park. Let me play. Like just totally being intuitively led to joy every single day. Life was amazing.
Wow.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
until later when I when I applied for a teaching job again and I was worried, like, oh, I don't have a job. And when I started to worry about it, and I was like, "Where's the joy in my life?" Like, now actually I even have a
Mm.
job, like, not now, but at that time, I have a job, I have money coming in, I feel more stressed than when I had very little money coming in, and I was just following my intuition to let it lead me to joy every day, and I think that was the realization is that if I follow my intuition, it will open up joy opportunities every single day.
You know what I love about that is like one kind of realization I've made is that a lot often we'll think about, when I do this, if I do this, if I experience this, when this happens, then I'll feel joy, then I'll be happy, right? Whatever, however we kind of frame it. And that's often we think of it as like a result or a reward. And I got really clear that if we use it as an intention, like if we're really intentional, like the way you just described it, and you're living with it and you're leading it, you can kind of decide how things are gonna unfold. Like you can go to a networking event and instead of being like maybe worried or concerned or fearful you don't know anyone, or well, what if I don't meet the right people or people that are potential clients? What if they're not my people? Like, all those things. I mean, I've gotten worked up about that before. And it takes the fun out of it as opposed to just like, hey, I get a chance to meet new people. I'm just grateful to be invited to this. Someone kind of wants me and my energy in that room. And I'm just going to talk to people as if they're the most important people in the room. And whether they're a potential client, whether I needed to hear their message, they need to hear mine. We just needed to connect, whatever that is. But kind of letting go of expectations, which can often get in the way of joy, right? And then speaking of kind of joy and happiness, and I just mentioned that you kind of, when I was reading some of your information on the founding sponsor, like info sheet, something kind of stopped me and you said happiness is fleeting, but joy is always there, which I love.
Mm,
And I just wonder if you can unpack that for us, like what that
yeah.
means to you and what you mean by that. Cause I thought that was wonderful.
I heard it, I think from like probably a Tibetan monk or something was quoted or somebody, amazing, and, that I don't know personally, uh,
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
about how, happiness comes and goes, but joy is always
Mm.
there, and I was like, "Hmm," and I kinda had to sit with that, like, "Really? What's that all about? What's the difference?" But the reality is that at our core, we are joy, and it's just that we
Mm.
get pulled away from the core because 'cause we're distracted by oh, our nerves, are we gonna meet the right person? Or, you know, whatever it might be, we get distracted. So we're pulled away from who we really are at our core, which is joy. Like the reality is we are love, we are peace, we are joy at our core. We are. So it's
Mhm.
always available to us and it's always there. We just might be disconnected from it. It doesn't mean that it's
Right.
not there. So tuning back in whatever way works for everyone, we can always get back to that. I've heard people talk about, I know a lady who said her husband had just passed away. He was dying, like, of cancer, and when he passed away, she, of course, felt extreme sadness, and literally in the same moment was able to find joy. So it's
Mhm.
there. It's just, are we able
Right.
to open to it?
That's cool because she probably wasn't happy in that moment,
No,
because she was experiencing sadness and she was grieving, but joy because she had all those years and those
exactly.
memories and those experiences with
Exactly.
her husband. So, yeah, that's an
Exactly.
interesting
Yeah.
way to look at it. And so how do we return to that core, like, when we drifted away from it? Because it's like, I know I've tried lots of different things. We talk about it, retreat, gifts of shift. Like, how do we shift out of it? How do we return to that core? I'd love to hear, some things that, you do that have helped you get back to that core of joy, that core state that, we're talking about.
Sometimes it's meditation. And for me,
Mhm.
sometimes that's challenging because I have ADHD. And so my monkey mind is a little busy from time to time. So sometimes I find that challenging. And so this is why I have a toolbox. Like when I say self love toolbox, it's because, you
Yeah.
don't have just a hammer for all your projects. You need to have the right tool. And different
Right.
tools are going to work with different projects. So it's the same thing with like strategies and tools for anything we have for ourselves. Same idea. So sometimes for me, it's meditation. Sometimes it's getting out in nature. I find that that's super
Yeah.
grounding. If I can get near water or I can hug a tree, oh my goodness, that's like, 99.9% effective. It's so because out
Mhm.
in nature, we are also given like so many minerals that our body needs that it's not receiving when we're inside our houses or buildings or whatever it might be. So that's super powerful and, hopefully easily available, depends where you live, obviously, but for me, luckily, very available. Just walk out my boat door and I'm out in nature, so that's great. Um, and
Amazing.
then my go-to when, if all of those things I may have tried, but they're just not getting me back to joy,
Right.
I go to movement because as I can be
Yeah.
5 minutes in movement and I'm right out of my head and in my body, and that's where we need to be, like, that's where it is,
Mhm.
right? It's
Mhm.
inside of our body. It's not up here, the joy is not up here. These are the thoughts up here, which might be
Right.
happy thoughts, but, when we're not, the thoughts are not gonna we're not gonna think our way back into, like, "Oh, great." So movement, that's where it's always at for me. I remember having the worst breakup of my life, thinking, "I just wanna eat ice cream and sit on the couch," and called my friend and like, "Let's do that." And she's like, "Okay, well, let's practice because I was just a new fitness instructor. "Let's practice for 5
Right.
minutes, and if you don't feel better, then we'll sit on the couch and eat a pint of chocolate ice cream." And I was like,
Seems
"Okay."
like a fair deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
I was
fair.
like, "Okay, well, we'll practice for 5 minutes and I'll be on the couch," right? No, 5 minutes
Right.
and I didn't even remember that had just had a breakup and
Mm.
that I was so
Wow.
upset. None of that. Like, it just brings me right into my body. So, for me, that's, like, the gold
That's
star
amazing.
one that always works.
That's amazing. I remember kind of like getting, I kept thinking this past summer even that, oh, I should be posting more. I should be sharing other ideas, making more of a difference. Like just, getting out there more, sharing the message. Maybe it'll resonate with some people, maybe it won't, but, just sharing enough messages that there's got to be something in there that's going to help people. And, I was just so overworked in my head and I'm stressing about it and I'm a recovering perfectionist. So I thought, you know what could I do to kind of just change, shift things? So I thought I'll do some habit stacking. I had kind of heard about that. Didn't really do a lot of research, but I thought different than kind of multitasking in the way that I understood it. I thought, okay, well, I want to learn more. I want to listen to more podcasts and learn more. I'm on this journey and I want to work out more, exercise more, and then I want to kind of, share more and be out in nature. So I was like, I went and I ran the stairs in the ravine in the beaches, in Toronto where I live. And in doing so, I'm listening to the podcast, I'm in nature, I'm exercising. And then I thought, like, in doing that, I would think about, okay, that's a cool idea to share. I'll see if, I'll just do a video, short video, like 2 or 3 minutes, and then just post it. I called them one take wonders, not because they were always wonderful, but just because it made me laugh and it just took the pressure out of it and made it less perfect. I didn't go back and edit it or do anything or even retake it. I just
Love
said,
it.
that's it. That's me, whether I, effed up some words or some English or used some background, whatever, or sore. I'm just like, I'm posting it anyway. So yeah, I can relate to all those things that you just shared. That's amazing. All right. Well, the next thing I said, you said that you intentionally look for magic and miracles daily. So, what does that actually look like, on a, let's say on a Thursday afternoon like today?
Thursday afternoon. I think for me, it's sometimes easy. Well, it is easy to see the big things that come to us, where we don't have to like take a lot of action to be like, wow, I had this amazing podcast interview. It was so fun. La la la. You could feel already the magic and miracles of that. That's great. For me, where I have to like look for it is in the moments like I just had where I was on the phone with my insurance company and they're like, no, we can't find the file. No, we don't know which department to send you to. No, no. And, really, I'm like, is this for real happening? What is going on?
Mhm.
And then I am able to now just like pause and go, okay, what's the good in this? Like, really, that's where the magic and
Right.
miracles come. It's like, can I look for what is the good in this? And I realized that this woman was doing her
Mhm.
very best to help me. She's like, you know what? This is really complicated.
Right.
Hold on. So maybe we're not getting the result, but this woman who's never dealt with this foolishness before is like going to go to
Mhm.
the ends of the earth to try to help me. And then I can shift to gratitude. Now, when I'm in
Yeah.
gratitude, bing,
Wow.
magic and miracles abound.
Hmm. That's amazing. I love it. And so you kinda I love how you got present to what was really going on and you shifted and it was intentional. You kinda created joy intentionally. And I think gratitude's a, beautiful way to kinda do that and get out of our heads and, um, even being of service to other people as well. Like she was being of service to you. She's probably frustrated because she knows you're frustrated. So she's doing her best to be of service. That's another way to not make it about ourselves when we're, when it's all about us. What do you do when you wake up not feeling joyful? Like it's sudden you wake up and whether you're worried, you're stressed, the day's already maybe you've been up for hours, spinning in the monkey mind. But yeah, what do you do then?
Great question for me specifically because almost
Mhm,
always I wake up not feeling amazing. Like very
mhm.
rarely do I wake up going like, this is not the wake up me. And so what I do is first thing I pull up my 5 minute, uh, what is it called? Anyways, it's a gratitude journal. I don't know why I can't think of what it is. 5 minute journal. There you go. That was complicated, wasn't it? So I pull up my 5 minute journal app and I go into the gratitude. And as we just talked about, gratitude is a great vibration raiser. So if I can find
Mm,
3 things right here in the here and now to be grateful for, oh,
oh,
I'm already feeling a little bit better. Life isn't all shit because, oh, look, I just found these 3 things to be grateful for. Okay, great. And then again, not to sound like a broken record, but literally, I move my body. That is it. Because in the morning, I know that's going to do it for me.
mhm. It's gonna shift things. I love it. And that's a great segue, into intensati. You gotta tell me if that's correct. It seems like I can't pronounce it. I've tried like 100 times. It's funny because I've experienced it 3 times, right? I mean, I've heard you say it, 100 times, but so you use mindset and movement through, that practice, intensati. Um, so for someone listening who has never experienced it like I have, what happens in that room?
Mm. Intensati is really, speaking of magic, it's such a magical
Mhm.
practice. And I feel so blessed that I was introduced to it about 5 years ago now. And so you start with a theme. Like this month, it's I ease into action. So you know that every time there's a class, there's going to be about I ease into action. And we set an intention for each person. They set an intention about that theme. And then we
Right.
go into movement with affirmations. So
Mhm.
the cool thing about that is that a lot of people have a resistance to either exercise or
Right.
affirmations. And so for the person who hates exercise, they're saying the affirmations, they're distracting themselves from the work their body is doing. And the person who
Right.
hates affirmations, they're distracting
Uh-huh.
themselves by the movements and the affirmations are going into their subconscious anyways. And so that's why I
Mm.
was talking about like, it's not additive. It's not just like I'm doing movement and then I'm adding affirmations. And so 2 plus 2 is 4. No, it's exponentially better when you put those two together. Uh, and then, and the energy that's created in the room is so phenomenal, even when it's on Zoom, because
Yeah.
of course the energy travels. And so you feel other people's energy and you're receiving energy and you're giving energy. Really, really amazing. Um, and at the end, we ground it with a meditation. So, you've been in your body and then you get to just like sit and be with your breath and come back to center. If for some
Uh-huh.
reason that monkey mind is still out there, it's really, like I said, it's just a magical practice. The very first time I ever attended a class, I was like, this is magical. I will teach it someday. So, and here I am 4 years later teaching away.
And I shared my experience on the beach, and which was amazing, and it was one of those things where, I mean, I've literally joked around about, dancing like nobody's watching, and I'd love to say that I'm not self-conscious and I don't, care what other people think, but I'm not quite there. I'm a work in progress, and so I'm just like, "Holy moly," and I'm watching because I didn't know what it was. You invited me to experience it. I said I'd do it. I was at my parents', with my family, and I was like, I'm gonna go and run to the beach and experience it there. And I was thinking it was more maybe meditative, but in an intense, meditative. And so I bring my like, towel and I'm thinking I'm gonna be sitting down. I'll be doing some deep breathing. And it was like not at all like that. And I connected to myself like in a deep way. And I'm watching the video on my phone and I'm trying to do the moves. And again, I just kind of let go of trying to be perfect. And I think that's the permission that you give yourself and you give everyone in the room, and for
Yeah.
me, that was part of the magic. It's not about
Mhm.
saying the affirmations, the same way. It's not about doing the moves the same way. Because even there's sometimes when you're like, "Oh, okay," you would say, like, maybe a different affirmation. You're like, "Oh, I meant to say this one," and so, you made a few mistakes, big deal, right? I mean, the
Mhm.
way that you held space for everyone, and for me, it just made it easy to step in. And while I was doing it on the beach, I mean, it was like there was a little girl that came up, she and her mom, and she's standing there next to me, and no one else can see it, it's just me, but it was so beautiful, and her mom's laughing. I'm sure she's laughing at me because I'm just like, I'm looking ridiculous and loving it. I really was enjoying it. And other people would walk by. I'm by myself, right? I'm dancing by myself in the morning. So you gave me, an opportunity of let go of kind of being perfect, and what does that look like? What does it feel like? Getting out of my head was such a huge gift, right? I mean, and it was just such a special experience, and you did that at the Still Center retreat that you were at, and you led that session twice. So I get to experience it, as I mentioned, with people that I really care about, and to not just feel it for me again and to be in your energy and how you inspire and energize and empower people in such a beautiful way where you just like give everyone permission to just be. Right,
Mhm.
and it really is because I mean, I'm like I like affirmations, and I'm always looking for the perfect one. And I was like, like, and then, again, that's kinda getting in my way, I'm getting in my own way, and the fact that you just made it easier and you're sharing them and you already have them and we're moving and we're doing the affirmations and we're just having fun, you could feel it in a different way, and I think that's where it was embody. I think you said that in one of the classes. It's really about embodying it, which is a
Mhm.
different kind of energy. So, yeah, you really helped me. I think you helped everyone get out of our own way. So, I'm
Mhm.
like a professional intensity, um, participant, even though I can't pronounce the word properly every time, and nor can I do the affirmations perfect every time or the movements. Doesn't matter, right? I'm
No.
in. Just
Yeah.
count me in. So,
Exactly.
that's so
No, I love it. And I love thank you
mm,
so much for sharing that story. I'm, like, tearing up
mm.
because
Ah,
what I could see was, your little square on the beach. Like, I knew you were on the beach, and I was like, "Okay, well, this guy's pretty courageous. Like, he wants to do it on the beach. Amazing. Like, I can't wait for it to be done on the beach." Thinking you had total understanding of what it was.
no.
And then I'm seeing you smiling. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you moving and I'm seeing
Yeah.
you smiling. I never saw,
Mm.
nerves or, you didn't stop or anything like that. And so, hearing that backstory and knowing, of course, totally normal that you would be like, oh my gosh, like, are people going to be watching and all that at the beginning? That's normal. But the fact that it did allow you to just let go of all that perfectionism. I tell people often in my fitness classes, like, just leave your inner perfectionist out there in the waiting room when I'm doing in person classes. They'll be fine out there. You can pick them back up if you want afterwards. But in here, you just like be. the imperfect you. And it's
Mm.
beautiful. And I love holding space for that. And people have often said to me, like, well, why do you like let us know that you made a mistake? Because we'd never know. And I'm like, because
Mm.
that's important that you know I'm not
Yeah.
just this perfect leader that is da da da. And then all of a sudden I'm on a pedestal, I'm up here and you feel, oh, I can't ever be that good or what? No, man, we're making mistakes. We're all here and we're having fun and experiencing it together. So it's super important to me.
It's so good. And you know what? You're right, we wouldn't know, because you're just, you're doing your thing because 'cause we're not paying attention to that, and when you share it, you also share it in a it's just authentic. It's just like, "Yeah, you made a mistake, big deal." Like, you don't make a big deal about it. You could tell it doesn't distract you. It actually adds to the joy.
I
Like, you
agree.
literally, because 'cause you're laughing at
Makes me
yourself,
laugh.
you're giving us,
Yeah.
permission to laugh at ourselves, and I think for me, it just, like, it gave me an opportunity to really own my joy in that moment, right? Because I was
Mhm.
self-conscious going to the beach. I'm like, "Oh my god, what am I doing? I should be, like, at, my parents' pool or, like, in a room where no one else can see me doing this in private like everyone else," it seemed like, knew what they were in for, and then I'm like, "Nah, I'm just going for it," and that was a bit, it felt like a big leap for me, right? And I was just like I said I was gonna do it. I'm here, I'm doing it, and it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be funny. And that was the first time. And then obviously even in the at the retreat with those 2 sessions, seeing you, like the joy in your face, like you really connect, you really care. That's the other thing too, right? I can
Mhm.
tell, like you're having so much fun. In my head, I mean, my inner critic is like, no one can be that happy. Look how happy she is. No one can be that. I mean, I'm joking, of course, right? It's like the comparison is the thief of joy. So I'm like, no, I gotta let that go because you were just beaming, right? And it's like it's you and it's authentic and it's awesome. So
It's true.
yeah, so thank you again for sharing your energy and
Oh, it
those
was
times and every time. Yeah, that's who
thank
you
you.
are.
It was a joy, honestly.
So our next question. So you've said before that you help depleted change makers put themselves first so they can create sustainable impact. Why is that so hard for high achievers?
Mm. Well, of course, every person is different, but I think that
Mm,
generally high achievers are like you identified, and I certainly identify too, perfectionists or recovering perfectionists. So when you want to be perfect, it's hard to, think that you're going to let anyone down and therefore you just go, go, go till you get
mhm.
depleted. That's the first thing. And you retake and retake and retake, and then you sometimes end up in paralysis, which is another thing.
Yes. Yep.
Also, the people who I serve want to help people. That is what they wanna do with
Oh,
their life. So, they could be a
oh,
change maker where they're really just trying to not just because it's amazing, but
oh,
where they don't even think they're a change maker because all they think that they're doing is helping to have a better family than they grew up in, for example. Well, they're
right.
cycle breakers. That's a huge change maker. They don't have
That
to
is huge.
want to be Nelson Mandela and end apartheid in order to be considered a change maker. And I mean, there
Right.
are people like that that I know in my world as well. But anywhere in there where you want to make a lasting change, I think that's a change maker. That's what I, call them. And so
Okay.
those are people who, of course, wanna help other people, and we are socialized to be, well, serve everybody else, take care of everybody else first, and then wherever you land, if you even make the make the cut, then fine, but make sure everybody else is taken care of first. Well, of course, that doesn't work because eventually your cup is running empty and you keep giving, you don't stop, and now you're maybe into burnout potentially.
Mhm. And it's like, it's the oxygen mask philosophy, and I know we've heard of it 1,000 times, but I really do, like, I think it's a great analogy, like, kinda put the mask on first, like, take care of yourself first, take care of your own joy first, like, joy's contagious. Like, you walk into
Yes.
a room, I mean, someone smiles at you, and, like, I just remember it was, like, I don't know, it was a couple summers ago, I don't know what I was doing, but I was walking down the street, and I was like, "Why is everyone smiling at me?"
Mm,
And I was just thinking, like, is my hair kinda look weird, or am I wearing a hat? No, I'm not wearing a hat, my hair might look weird, I don't know, but I just realized because I realized that I was thinking about something in my head and I was smiling. I didn't even realize that I was smiling. And I realized I've been just walking down the street with this big grin on my face and people were reacting to it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, it wasn't really me trying to make them smile, but I realized, wow, it's so easy to spread that joy, right? Intentional. And we're intentional with it. We're doing it on purpose versus waiting, like if then scenario. It's like cause and effect. If these things happen, then I'll give myself permission to feel joy.
Hmm.
And this just popped into my head too. I think when people are going through a really hard time, there's so much suffering out there. And it's like, and even if they did or said something that they regret and they're owning it and they're doing whatever they're doing to make amends, sometimes I think when I can speak for personal experience, I know that I'll feel guilty kind of, um, being joyful. Like, if I'm in that state, I'm feeling guilty, shameful, I'm beating myself for, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that." I reacted,
Hmm.
it was misdirected frustration, misdirected anger, and then I'll start to feel joy, then I'll, like, pull it back. I'm like, "No, I don't deserve to feel that right now because of what I just did or because of what I'm going through or maybe because of the pain I caused someone else," right? And I just think, God, just we need to give ourselves permission to feel joy, right? And to create
Hmm.
more of it. Cause when we do, like just, the interaction, like it's infectious, it's contagious. I think maybe contagious is a better word. I don't know if either of those are better. But anyway, you get the ripple effect, right? Of joy, I think
Exactly.
is amazing. And
Absolutely.
then what tends to block joy for you
Mm.
personally? Like what are those things that get in the way of joy?
I mean, it's me. It's always me, right?
Yeah.
How am I perceiving a
Right.
situation? So somebody said something to me and now I'm feeling offended or disrespected. Okay, well, that's how I
Mhm.
perceived the situation. And I might be right and I might be wrong. Like, I'm
Mm.
probably never going to know. Um, but yeah, how am I perceiving it? And so many times we both experience the same exact thing happening. And
Uh-huh.
you might think it's amazing, and I'm totally like, "That was the worst thing ever," just because of our
Mm.
perception. So, for me,
Right.
absolutely. My mind is probably my worst joy enemy, and my mind is amazing and does amazing things, and I'm so grateful for it, and still it does a very good job of keeping me safe, which often, uh, it thinks means, like, staying small or,
Right.
not letting that person get away with that or whatever these, like, little petty things are that really, if I just let go, as you were saying, let go, let go, let go, then
Mhm.
the joy can still be there. I'm reading The Untethered Soul right now. Have you
Oh,
read that?
yeah. Yeah, well, I actually have the
And he's
workbook. I
talking.
never read the book, but I did start going but I haven't finished the workbook. Yeah, that's on my that's on my to-do list of
Well,
perfect
maybe
things to
it's
do.
yeah, maybe it's a
Yeah, maybe
sign to
it's
go back
time.
to it, but just like he talks about, it's when we off our energy centers and especially our heart. That's when it
Mhm.
blocks. So, oh, I'm offended by that person or, and not to say we can never be offended. We're human. It's going to happen. We're not perfect beings. But when we catch ourselves, oh, okay, like I can choose. I can be offended. This can like really draw me down because it's easy for my mind to just spiral into this negative, you know, I'm really down here.
Mhm.
Or can I
Yeah,
be
makes
like, is it possible that either I misunderstood or this person's having a really bad day? Or is there another perspective that would
Mhm.
suit me better? If we make the story a story that suits us, all of a sudden we can stay at a higher, level.
Yeah, like, if we're gonna make stuff up, which we do, like, we're adding meaning to it that we don't even is true, it's usually not.
Right.
Why not make it up so that it builds us up and it lifts us up and it
Exactly.
brings us up as opposed to tears us down, knocks us
Right.
down?
100%.
It's like I love the perception thing. I think, we're meaning-making machines. Like, we, attach so much meaning to certain things, and a lot of it's not even true. Like, I think a
Mhm.
lot of limiting beliefs are, we made them up. Something happened in our childhood, we misinterpreted it, and now we're kinda living it, right? Like, we made up the story, and then we believe that story. I
Mhm.
remember in a Landmark forum, of course, I took a weekend course, probably 20 years ago,
Hmm.
There was a woman and she stood up and she was sharing a story how when she was younger, and I think she was like 7 or 8, one of her teachers, she did something in class, and then one of the teachers said and responded, well, that's a stupid thing to do. Even though she didn't say she was stupid. That's kinda not the best way to say it, obviously, but she didn't say you're stupid, but still she interpreted that as she's stupid. She lived her life until she was 50. She was 50 at that course at making decisions as if she was stupid because that's what she
Hmm.
believed. And luckily,
Hmm.
the forum leader kind of shared with her that no, that's how she interpreted it. That's not what the teacher meant, and that's not who she is. So it's
Hmm.
like it was transformational. It was amazing. So I think, like Wayne Dyer says, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at
Get.
change. Which is great. And then there's another one that I've heard, like, what other people think about us is none of our business because it usually has nothing to do with us. That's a
Hmm.
tough one for, like, let's say my 14-year-old daughter, to understand, or even 7-year-old son. Because, and again, when I was that age too, that wouldn't have meant anything to me. I mean, I think that made sense to me maybe a few years ago, right?
Hmm.
So, but anyway, yeah, I love that because it usually doesn't. So again, we're making stuff up and we're taking it on, and even those thoughts that pop into our head, sometimes we misinterpret those as they're real thoughts, as opposed to thinking. Like if we're actually applying intellectual capacity or thinking, we're actually thinking versus having thoughts. That's
Right.
another distinction because those aren't usually real, or a lot of them aren't. They're limiting beliefs. So it's just distinguishing, between that as well. So when those blocks show up, Emmy, what do you actually do to kind of, I know you shared some things before, but when the block shows up, like how do you kind of remove it? How do you move through it? What's the practice you go through? If you can share.
I often start with my breath because
Yeah.
often I'm shallow breathing or, maybe not even really breathing at all. I mean, obviously, I'm breathing enough to keep me alive, but so I'll just take a deep breath to start. And then
Uh-huh.
also stopping then to say, like, what do I need right now? What do I need? And maybe it's like just putting my hand on my heart and, you know, making myself feel better, literally by soothing myself or giving myself a hug. That can
Oh,
sometimes be so powerful. Sometimes it's,
mm,
this is like I'm feeling, I might notice, wow, I'm really tired. And when I'm tired, some people can go days without sleeping. I don't know how that happens. I am one bad night of sleep and I'm like a train wreck. So maybe it's like,
right.
okay, I need to take a nap. So I really
Yeah.
just check in. What do I need in this moment? And then if I can, I'll give it. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if I'm teaching, I'm not, let's take a nap now.
Yeah. Right.
Although
Exactly.
I joke with my kindergarten students sometimes. They're like, "I'm tired." I'm like, "Me too. Let's take out a mat. Let's have a nap." But,
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
But no, if I
That's
can do it,
wonderful.
then I'll do it?
So, can you share a moment in your life when you experienced just kind of full body, undeniable joy? Like, what did that
Mm.
feel like? Where did you feel in your body? Is there something that pops into your head?
Well, there's so many moments, but
I'm
honestly
sure. I'm sure. I've
yeah,
experienced some of them, right? Yeah.
so many. I think
Mm,
when I was and I'm not saying this because I'm on your podcast, but it is coming to
yeah.
mind maybe because I'm talking to you, but when I lead intensati in general, it's amazing.
Mm,
But being
mhm.
able to do it at your retreat because you do
Mm,
draw very incredible people, and it was such a joy, and I mean, you said it, like, you were like, "Can anybody be that happy?" Because it's true, the joy was just exuding from me. I
yeah.
I can't contain it, I can't hide it. I wouldn't want to anyways, but even if I did want to, if I was like, "Reel it in," no, there's no reeling it in, it's gonna come out
Reel it
because
in.
it's
Oh,
overflowing, right? And that's what we want. We
yeah.
want to be serving others from
Mm,
our overflow. So, how does it feel to me? I mean, my heart feels warm. I feel so lit up. It's like you have this unending energy when you're in the vibration of joy. I do, anyways.
uh-huh.
Um, and I mean, everyone does because really, we do have that unlimited energy at our core. So again,
Yeah.
we're joy at our core. So if we're there, we're at our core, it is automatically this unlimited, unending. incredible energy. I just feel
Um,
like I felt like I could just go on forever. I was hot and sweaty, but I wasn't tired, even though some people were like, "Are we done yet?" Some
yes,
people,
it's not a
not
cakewalk.
naming names, but there's
No,
no
no.
harm in pointing.
Hey, when you point the finger at someone, three fingers are pointing right back at you, so no, no, I'll own that, I'll own that. That
Well
was,
done, well done. No,
oh,
but
man,
it
that
it
was me. That was fair enough, fair
it
enough.
was
I know,
such a
it was
joyful
challenging at times.
experience, and
Yeah.
you know it's true because you were there, but it really was.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like
Mhm.
I've led intensati at my own retreats,
Mhm.
and I've led it at other live events, but it really was a dream come true to be able to lead it at someone else's transformational retreat. So, yeah, that's a recent one.
It was a beautiful, yeah, it was a beautiful addition to the retreat, and I think what also helped is that we had spent so much time together connecting, right? Different conversations, different activities, figuring out what we want, what gets in the way of what we want, how do we
Mhm.
get out of our own way, and it was literally like, I felt like, your intensity was, like, kinda bringing the whole still center retreat together. Literally,
Oh.
it was like everything, about it was about dreaming, it was about letting go. I mean, like, literally, it's funny 'cause I've always thought, there's one quote by Neville Goddard that I thought kinda summarized my retreat the best that I could kinda find, and that is, "Make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled." And you focus so much on the feeling, and I would say there's one activity that summarizes, my retreat better than any activity I've ever experienced, whether I've led it or someone else, as a guest has led it, and that's yours, and that was yours, Intensity. That really summarizes the essence of what I want people to feel. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you. I hadn't thought of it that way until just now, so I have no notes that I'm referencing. It's like, make sure to, well, I do have notes. I have my questions, but there's no side note saying, adding that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just thought of that. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Amazing.
It was like this beautiful
Mhm.
energy exchange. Yeah, it
Yes,
really
it
was
is,
with
exactly.
everyone. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So for those listening, as we're kind of winding down towards the end of the podcast, like, what do you hope people feel after listening to this conversation?
I hope that either if they already feel like joy is a part of their life every day, that they are committed to sharing it unapologetically, because maybe they're told that they're too much. And really, if they heard one thing, I hope it's that joy is contagious or infectious or whatever we want to call it. So they're being
And
they're
unlimited. And
being a gift.
unlimited.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so they're being a gift to the world when
Mhm.
they are like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And on the other side, if they don't feel like they're connected to joy, that
Mhm.
maybe they'd be
Mhm.
inspired to try even one of these many different ways we've talked about to connect to joy and to make a
Uh-huh.
commitment to trying that. Try it for 2 weeks and see, every day just make 5 minutes to do one of those
Mhm.
things and see if it brings them joy, because it's 100% worth it, right? Living in joy, wouldn't you say, Greg?
100%. And again, this isn't me 24/7, like you said,
Oh,
this isn't you. You wake up, that's just for me, it's about practicing it. And it's just like, and it's learning. That's why I wanted to do the podcast is really about, talking about inspiring, energizing, empowering. I wanted to help people live with more joy and lead with more joy and work with more joy intentionally. Right. And
mhm.
just to kind of give some different ideas like the ones that you shared and just different ways to think about because not everything's going to resonate the same with everyone listening, right? But they're hopefully, like you said, there's that one or two things that it's like, oh wow, that seems like that could work for me based on who I am and in my lifestyle and what I'm doing. So no, that's wonderful. Um, so before we kind of say goodbye for now, how can people connect with you? How can they find you? How can they track you down? What's the best way?
I am at Transform with Emmy on pretty much every social media platform. Uh,
Mhm.
Mostly I'm active on Instagram or LinkedIn. So those are one of the two best ways if you're a social media person. Or my website is emmyrousseau.com. So that's the other way.
And I'll put all that in the post as well, so it'll be easy too. But just I wanted to hear that out loud. So that's amazing. So I mean, here's my maybe summary of you is that, you just don't talk about joy, you activate it, you live it, you share it, you give it, you are it. Yeah, really. Yeah, I
Mm.
can feel it. It's like my vibe was like vibrating in the conversation. It's like that's just being in your energy is so special. So I knew I was like thinking one of these podcasts it's gonna get emotional. And so and again, that's joy. And that's like I call it joy streaming. I don't say tears of joy anymore. I say joy streaming because it's just like yeah, that's in my new expression, joy streaming. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, thanks for being a founding sponsor, for believing in this movement, believing with what I'm up to, believing in what we're up to, you're a huge
Mm.
part of this. And this isn't just something we chase or we go after, it's something that we return to and it's something that we can cultivate and create and
Mm.
access. Cause like you said, it's us at
Mhm.
our core. So yeah, and I just invite anyone listening, if they've heard anything, if that made a shift, to just maybe just incorporate, one or two things, in your life that you think might help you to access that joy and remove something that may be blocking it. So, you've got this, we've got this. Let's continue to lift each other up, bring each other up, call each other up.
That's it.
Way different energy than call each other out, right? Let's call each
Absolutely.
other up. Woo!
Minute.
Thanks, Emmy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been such a joy. Truly. I'm not even just saying that because we're on Joy Squared. Naturally came out of my mouth.
There's the royalty program, which we'll talk about after the podcast. Cheers. All right. See ya. Thanks for spending this time with us on Joy Squared, where joy multiplies and everything gets better. Remember, joy isn't just something you feel, it's something you create and it's something you pass on. If this conversation sparks something in you, share it because joy is contagious. What we're building here is bigger than a podcast. It's a reminder and a movement that how we live, work, and lead truly matters. Until next time, live with joy, lead with purpose, and never forget to have fun. Keep choosing joy, squared. And if you're enjoying the journey, we'd be grateful if you subscribe, like, and share Joy Squared so the ripple keeps spreading.